drinking. I haven't really been drinking since.
No,
the
I mean
summer.
your veggie juice. Your juices.
No. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably what happened. I got off it for a few days. But
I didn't put Shane's name on here. I've just noticed.
Oh,
what's that?
I didn't put Shane's name up on our screen.
Oh, I can change it. Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me change it. I think
I didn't realize it was going to come up like that. So sorry, honey.
Let's see. I know there's a way to do it. Hang on. Wait. Oh, wait. Here it is. No. Don't ask me. I'm just like.
Do you know how to do it? Shane might be able to do it.
Huh. They used to let you do it. How weird. Okay. Anyway, here we are. So I have to take a big breath. I just had a huge download and experience with my brother, testing out new equipment and stuff. And it's just incredible. But it's good to see y'all.
Thank you for having us.
It's good to meet Shane. And I've heard about y'all. For more
don't believe a word she says.
Well, I guess there's there's two sides to the story, so I don't know the story. I'm just kidding with you. But yeah, so obviously, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, you just froze. It's my computer. It's dying. So, how did you guys meet? How did that all go down? Who busted the move?
Oh, I did, of course.
Oh yeah.
Y'all
do the same thing in Australia as we do in the States. The guy busts the move.
Well, you have to, otherwise you'd be forever left wondering, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, y'all look so radiant.
We just had showers.
Ah. See, I was going to mess with you, and I was going to ask you if you did your hair again. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I just made an effort, Todd, because I normally walk around not like this.
Yeah.
Hasn't washed it for a week, Todd, but as soon as she knew she was online with you, it was like, oh, I've got to wash my hair.
So how long have y'all been together?
Should I go? Because I won't remember.
Yeah, go on.
I do. I made notes.
All right.
Nearly 20 years, yeah?
Yeah, by March it'll be 20 years then.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot.
Do you want to say the story about how we met?
You can say the story about how we met.
No, you can. I'd love to hear your position.
Well, Suzanne used to have a homewares and gift shop back in Tassie where I grew up. And I used to love all the stuff that she had in there, and my family members loved all the stuff that she had in there for birthdays and Christmas and Mother's Day and the likes. And she was running that business with the first husband, and one day I went in there and they just had an argument. And as he walked out, he said, I'll leave it with you. See, good luck, hope you do better than I did, or something like that. And I'm like, that's a weird thing to say. But
what did he say?
He said, I'll leave it with you. I think meaning just after the argument, but he said something along the lines of, I hope you had better luck than I did. And I knew she was married, and I hadn't really thought about it in that way until that point. And I went, well, maybe I can see whether I can have better luck than you did.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
You didn't know that? You got to be kidding me.
I didn't know that was the first time he thought about it. So, because he was a customer in the shop, you see. So you'd come in on a Saturday morning and put on all your finery.
Yeah.
Exactly. Aftershave.
It's the only time I ever put any effort in.
And he wasn't interested. No, seriously, in that moment is when you decided.
Yeah, because I knew she was married.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hadn't really thought about it until that point. And then a little while after that, when I found out that they were separated, I offered to take Suzanne, who was out of action on crutches at the time, and her 2 boys to the local park because she couldn't get the boys out of the house and they were living in the city above the shop. And 2 full of energy boys with no outlet for their energy. So I offered to take them to the park.
Should I interject there though? Because there was a bit before that, wasn't there?
Okay.
Because so I had, no trust in men, obviously, had, the whole thing, and was not looking for any partner at the time. Trying to run a business, staff, 2 boys, we lived across from a pub. So every night there'd be doof music and it was pretty scary, right? And so I had a lot of trauma in the past. So I was I was a bit fearful as well. And so that was a great mixture. And so when he offered, he was starting to get to know the boys. So he'd come to the shop and on a Saturday morning, he'd have a chat to them about sport, all that stuff. And when he made the offer, I didn't sort of think too much about it. I thought, oh no, I'm not ready for that. And then when I had to go on crutches, oh no, yeah, you offered before that, didn't you? And then I just decided, right, I have to ask him because my kids are driving, like they're full of energy, they need to get out. And so I made the phone call and I'm thinking he's going to think he's in, but I don't want him to think he's in. Like, I don't want him to, I don't want him to think this is anything but just, a platonic and so apparently when I rang, because it took me a lot to ring, took me about half an hour to argue with myself before I made the phone call. And he apparently when I rang, he said, yes, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
He thought he was in straight away, so.
Wow. I was just getting a troll off of YouTube, but I heard everything you said.
But he was also, the thing that was also a bit scary was he was a lot younger than me. So if we go back a little bit. Come on.
What did he say? What did Shane say?
Heaps younger.
He was 22 and I was 33.
So you're a cougar. You're a cougar.
Oh, yeah. Gee, I have never heard that before, Todd. And so I had a shop full of, my staff were young girls that were all attractive, and he would come in and I would be thinking that he's interested in them, right? And I don't know, we made a comment one day and I said, oh, he's probably coming in to see you girls. And he said, no, they said, no, he's coming in to see you. And I'm like, are you serious? I didn't even give it a thought because he was so much younger. And he would throw little, he would throw comments at me like, oh, I'll take you out for dinner or whatever. And I'm like, oh, sorry, you're a bit too young for me, And then one day I realized that he was a bit serious. And then he actually, I had to sit him down and say, look, you kind of remind me a bit of my brother, and you sort of, it's not sort of that sort of thing. And apparently you walked out a bit dejected, but you didn't give up, did you?
So you told him you just wanted to be friends.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, because I didn't have that feeling first. I felt I was attracted to him he was a sweet guy, and I helped him with, finding gifts and things like that. But I wasn't in that space.
Yeah. So he came back with a resurgence, a second frontal attack.
Yeah, I wasn't going to be put off that easily.
Yeah. Was that when you took him to the park?
Yeah.
He took me.
Yeah.
In his car. So you were out of, he'd always been in my space, hadn't you? Mm. And I'd never seen him in his environment. So that changed things. Anyway, you continue the story. I've taken over. So.
No, she rang and said, the boys are driving me crazy. Can you
I didn't say that, did I?
Yeah, pretty much.
That sounds like a reciprocal move there. Like, that sounds like, was that a conscious or unconscious attempt to continue the frequency of where you're at today? I mean, At this point, were you interested?
Me? Oh, yeah, definitely.
No, I mean, Suzanne, when she called you to ask you to take her to the park.
Was I interested?
Yeah.
I wasn't interested in that in just a platonic relationship, but I'd grown to kind of trust him a little bit with the boys because I'd seen him with the boys and he'd come in every Saturday and he ended up coming in and I'd say, can you make us a cuppa or something, so he went up into my flat and made us drinks and that. So he sort of became part of the furniture in a way, didn't you? Like, I started to get comfortable with him and, he would stand, he would just chat to us. He wouldn't say a lot, would you? You just had this presence, and we'd be busy doing our, gift wrapping or whatever. And he'd put in a smart comment here and there like he does. And his presence was comfortable with his presence. So
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so I said, yeah, of course I can come and take you to the park or whatever, and kick the soccer ball with the boys or whatever it was that they want to do. So I said we'll make a picnic out of it. We'll do it at tea time or whatever after I finish work. So I think you organised food from Liz and Morris up the road.
Yeah, I'm Hungarian, so I would organise food.
And a bottle of rosé.
No.
None of that's okay, but there was kids involved, so I had to keep my head straight.
But you weren't interested. You weren't interested, according to you.
But I just got food because that's what I do because I'm Hungarian. I'm Hungarian and Yugoslav. Food is.
So at what point did somebody initiate, or was it mutual, like where you just said, hey, we got a thing going here?
I think a mutual thing, I would have thought. Obviously, that all went well.
Usually evidenced by the first kiss, kind of.
No, it was before that because it was that time, wasn't it? That I saw you in a different light. Yeah. But he played awesome music and how he maneuvered the car and his confidence. Like he didn't have as much confidence in the shop because it was in my environment. Right. But as soon as I got into his car, like how he parked the car, what the music he played, everything he did really spoke to me. It started to really surprise me. I'm like, oh, he was really confident, So I saw him in a different light. And he stirred the bejesus out of me most of the time because I had to sit on the blanket with because I'd done my knee, I'd snapped my cruciate ligament at a pub. That's how I did my knee. So I was jumping up and down to the song I Will Survive, if you know the song. Mm-hmm. And after 5 Zambucas, I snapped my cruciate ligament and I couldn't, my whole knee had to be 6 months, I think, of that. So I had to sit down on the mat, on the blanket while he was playing soccer. And every now and again, he'd kick the soccer ball at me just to, get me to move, to maneuver. And then he was just stirring me, weren't you? What did you say? Something about, I don't know. He was stirring me up, but I saw him in a different light. That's when things I started to go, oh, wow, this is interesting. For me, that's how it was anyway.
Yeah. Cougar on the prowl. I'm kidding.
No,
I'm kidding. You were stalked. You were stalked just like Morgan was stalked.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, this platform we talk about what we talk about, which is just all the things people don't talk about. But one of the things that has been kind of raising its head are these types of connections. And, so everybody's gone through whatever they've gone through, let's say since 2012. I mean, obviously there's something's happening on the earth and there's like a different definition or a different frequency of these types of connections. Have you guys, I mean, how do you guys, I don't mean like get along, but like everyone knows that in relationships, there's expansion, contraction, whatever you want to call it. How do you guys navigate what's going on in the world through your relationship.
Would you like to start, or should I?
This is going to be good. I can tell. There's much wisdom and humor.
Yeah, I think because we're similar in a lot of ways, but we're vastly different in others, and I think we complement each other, or we, to use a term that you and Suzanne might use, we ground each other. We don't let each other get carried away with any sort of extreme emotion, whether it be the euphoric, yes, this is all wonderful, this is going to happen, and then 50 other things are going to happen and it's going to be perfect. It might be just hang back and be realistic and see what actually happens.
That's me. That's normally me.
And we don't let each other get carried away with that other side of the emotion as well. Oh, it's the end of the world, it's going to be a disaster. Well, we can't do anything about what's happening now. Let's just, get on with it and see what happens. And wow. I think if we were both the same too much or too different, we wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot you just said. It's really cool.
Well, that's actually a real opposite to what I used to have in my previous marriage. We were too similar. And whereas Shane's really brought that grounding for me, like he really helps me to feel safe. He's very realistic. His humor is like, Morgan's met him, so she knows what he's like. And Monique, his humor is really, he's like, sometimes I cringe. He gets so close to the
to the edge.
Yeah, to the edge. And
I probably need to hang around him because I go over the edge too much.
Yeah, he does. I get so close to the edge, but people seem to love it.
Yeah.
And he's got this way with women. Like, I think his presence really sort of, it sounds a bit corny, but his presence actually really heals them, especially women that have had a lot of trauma. They all have said that they feel safe around him.
Yeah.
And he worked with women, 5 or 6, 7 or something, women in the bank recently when he hasn't got that job anymore, but they all still invite him to their functions and all that. They just really think highly of him. Yeah. And he's just that sort of person, whoever you speak to, they just think highly of him.
Or they know I'll bring food. Or
they know, he loves to cook. So that's something that's changed since, because when we moved from Tassie, our life changed a lot, and we changed a lot, didn't we? In our relationship and how we related to each other.
How long have you been in South Australia?
About 10 years, just a little bit.
10 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So that puts you at 2012. Go figure. Yeah.
Well, the 2012 was the year that we actually 2013, the first day, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, we lost one of our cats died. She left a snake on the mat, and it was a baby copperhead. So and we knew that she was gone. We didn't see her after that, but that same day we realised that we had, remember the rainbow trees? You realised? Yeah? Was it you?
It's just a tree.
No, but it's actually, we realised we had rainbow trees because for the first time they showed themselves in 2013. So rainbow trees are gum trees, but they normally cover themselves, but the bases all fell away and all these rainbow trunks and everything. And we wouldn't have seen them if we weren't going looking for the cat. And that was kind of the beginning of, it was sad, but it was, the beginning of realizing what we had here, where we lived, I think. So, yeah.
It sounds like Shane, like you're a energy practitioner, like formally, like you do sessions and stuff, don't you? Don't you do
me?
Yeah. No?
Yeah.
But I mean, you know what I mean? But like he's an unconscious energy practitioner. Like when you were talking about, the ladies at work and it's not like he's trying to instruct anybody. He's just doing it through. It's kind of like what you were talking about, the way he drove a car and all that.
Yeah, his hands. There's something about his hands. He's got healing hands. He's actually done some things with me that has been phenomenal.
Healing was.
Oh, I was going to say, we've only got one more strike on YouTube, then they're going to ban us. So be careful. No, I don't care. But yeah, this thing with the hands. Oh,
I didn't realize we were going that deep.
Yeah. I'll let you keep going here. Oh God, that's funny. So something kind of happened at 2012. Right? Like this moment you're talking about, there's a reason that you remember it. And like with the cat and with the snake, because I mean, I know this without even looking it up, that portends that somebody's past or a new,
transformation.
That happened to me with a relative. One was on the front porch. But anyway, so obviously your world with each other's changing, you move, and yet everything's also changing throughout the world. Do you guys ever, did you guys ever get to a point where you started talking about that? Like, and hey, something's going on. There's an awakening, or something's happening, or it's the end of the world, or whatever. Are you noticing anything different, or has it just been something that's just been kind of a natural nuance in your life?
I'll let you have this one.
Come on, honey, you can do this.
I'll put my 2 bombs worth in menu for you.
Okay. Well, I kind of started to, when I was in Tassie, I started to search a lot and started to find sites that were trying to figure out what was going on. And I could feel something was going on. And I used to have some prophetic dreams. And I didn't know that they were at the time, but I dreamt of 3 things, one particular thing before we came to Tassie. And it was a nightmare. And it was just before I woke up. And I dreamt of Shane. And so we had a son. So we've got a son, Kyle. So we had him very early in the relationship. We became pregnant 4 months into the relationship, and we became pregnent. So that was
like a couple of rabbits.
Yeah. Luckily, he had already said that he wanted to marry me before that. Like he was putting money away in a jar for our because otherwise I wouldn't have actually gone ahead with the pregnancy. I would have felt that I was trapping him.
Right.
And so I'm going to do this. So if I go off on a tangent, I won't remember what I came back to. So what was it?
No, just keep going. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but
you'll have to get it back on track eventually.
Yeah, I interrupt myself. So yeah, I don't even know where I was now. It's gone.
Having a prophetic dream.
Oh yeah, that's it, Sonny. And so I dreamt that Kyle and Shane were actually shot. So they opened this door, and I just remember it as clear as day. And they were both shot point blank. Like I saw everything. I saw them die, the blood, everything. And it was really, really horrific. And it's the first time I'd had one of those dreams. And so I'm thinking, oh my God, like, are they, what's going to happen? Are they going to die? So I was facing their mortality from then. So, and it wasn't till we moved, and so probably 3 months after that, we started to make plans to come over to South Australia, because I was becoming really, my trauma was catching up with me basically, and I had to deal with it, and I didn't have space to deal with over there, and my family's over here. So about 3 months after that, I started to see really massive changes in Kyle and Shane, and our circumstances changed, didn't they? I was working full time. He was home because I found work. So, we had to negotiate, didn't we? Basically, Shane taught me how to speak to him and ask for things, because that's not something.
You wouldn't think that's something you'd have to teach someone, but you'd be surprised.
Like what? As an example,
I wasn't very nice. I didn't ask very nicely, and because I didn't have any.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have a role model. Like I love my mum and dad and everything, but my mum and her mum, their lineage was about, basically putting the man down, and the man is a pest, and the man doesn't do. It is hopeless. And, Yeah, basically, you know.
Yeah.
And
so you had this.
My grandma would say "bolond," you know, a bolond, you know, and so that's like idiot, you know. And so he said, because I asked him one day, "Can you do something?" He said, "If you ask me nicely, I'm quite happy to do it," you know. And he did this. You do this when he speaks. He's right in his body, and he just speaks really quietly and calmly, and it just moves you. Like it's like, oh, I've got it.
So you had this revelation, kind of rude awakening about yourself.
Many of them.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty cool. I mean, so I know your energy, and you know, because we've done shows, and I just know you, and like, you're, I guess, like a lot of these couples, the feminine is kind of the antenna, and you know, the mystical one. Do you ever feel like you're daring and bewitched, Shane?
I don't know how old you think I am, Todd. What's this bewitched of which?
Oh, you know what he's talking about.
Well, I'm just hoping I figured you watch reruns.
No, a little bit before my time, that one.
But you know it though. You know it, don't you?
Yeah, I know the show.
Yeah.
Do you? I mean, do you like experience things that she does? Or can you relate to things, or is there some things she does that you're like going, wow, okay, if it works for you, you know,
yeah, I've experienced it firsthand, and I don't know how she does it or what she does, but for me, the times that I've experienced it, it's hard to explain.
Yeah. But you're aware of it. I mean, you're part of it, and because I know, like with Morgan, I don't experience everything the way Morgan does, not by a long shot.
No, I don't experience.
But there's something that from day one I always got it. Like she could have been talking about anything, dragons or fairies or anything, and I'd be like, I don't know why, but I know whatever she's telling me is accurate, right? Like it's some kind of, but without understanding. That's kind of what I'm picking up from you too.
Yeah, I don't always agree with everything Suzanne says, but a bit like you, I get the sense that she believes in it. So, and who are we to tell other people what's right and what's wrong with what they believe? So.
Yeah. Has she ever like surprised you? Like
all the time.
Todd, I surprised myself, you know. So
I'm curious. So can you give me an example, like for instance, like how you tell her you don't agree with her?
I just tell her. I just tell her. There's no sugarcoating it. There's no pandering to. I mean, let her down gently for sure, but that's what you believe. That's fine. I don't necessarily agree with that. But that's okay.
But it showed me you know, he's helped me to see that, and my older sons too, all my kids really, but our kids, but I realized that, you know, because when you start to discover this stuff and this stuff starts to happen, you think you want to tell everyone, oh my God, this is it. You know, you go through that stage of wanting everyone to know the magic, you know, or know you've got the answer, you know, and all that sort of stuff. And then I realized, hey, actually, after, you know, being told quite unceremoniously at times, hey, that's your belief, but that doesn't mean it's mine, you know. And I thought, oh my God, other people have different beliefs, and you know, and I mean, can we just go back though? When I first met Shane and we started to become, you know, get to know each other, he had, and he still has them. He had all these dragon books. Like, what's the series called?
Dragonlance books I was reading at the time.
Right. Now he had dragon, because my shop had crystals and all that sort of stuff, but he had all these dragon statues and with crystals on them and all this sort of stuff.
Uh-huh.
Now he actually was right into that. I sold them, but I really never really used crystals and still don't really. Like I just feel like crystals need to be in the ground and that's where they need to be. I've never used them, a little bit here and there to begin with, but I don't use them as a tool.
But that's not why I had them.
No, you had them because you just liked to look at them, didn't you? But he was doing the work, magnifying himself early on without knowing it. And you know, we've both been a bit like that. We don't sort of we do our stuff through action, don't we? Through actually grounded action, you know. We've done a lot of stuff. You've introduced me to a lot of music, and we dance. Like when we actually are changing energy or energy is shifting, we actually dance. We don't even talk about it. We just have this really strong urge to dance together, don't we? Like a song will come on and we've got to dance to it. Or Shane, you shift energy by washing the car. Did Morgan tell you about the story about Shane washing her car?
No.
Yeah.
Is it a good one?
Oh, well, she...
Not really. I was washing my car and Morgan turned up. Her car was there. So the stuff was still there, so I washed it.
Yeah, but see, he makes it sound so, oh, yeah, I just did that.
Well, I did.
You
I
should have.
washed it.
Morgan actually said to me when she stayed here, because I thought I was waiting for Shane. Because he's younger, I thought I was waiting for him, right? And Morgan said to me, no, he's actually been waiting for you this whole time. And I'm like,
I think I do remember her saying something like this.
Yeah, and Shane's got this way of washing cars. And she grabbed a bucket or something, sat on it, and actually watched him wash her car, because it was like an honouring. He thinks, oh yeah, I just washed the bloody car, but he's got this way of kind of honouring.
Never offered to help, not once. She sat there and watched me do it.
She was in awe of watching how he did it, you know, and the care that he took. And you know, I think she must have grabbed a smoke and a coffee and she was watching, you know, like she found it fascinating, you know. Yeah. And so from then on, she actually said to me too about, because you know how you take things for granted, you take, you know, and the spot we're in is magical and we've stayed here now, but I wanted to move from here. But my parents grew up here. I mean, I grew up here and my parents used to own this property. And there's a lot of history here. And, you know, we made the decision, we had to make the decision eventually that we had to stay here because I couldn't work. I had an injury. And so we decided, right, we're going to put everything into this place. We've got a great landlord, lets us do whatever we want. So we ended up doing the shed up together recently. And that's something else that we kind of did. It's like when we do stuff together, it's, I don't know, he's got this magical way of doing things and making everything better. And it helped our relationship with my dad as well and mum. And because the shed here is where my brother died. So he took his own life in the shed. So that's been a sad symbol for 10 years since we've lived here. But now it's this wonderful space that we love to go in. And, you know, we've done this studio up for me and, you know, but that was an amazing experience. Like Shane is like, my dad and I work together and we can not yell at each other, but we can have disagreements. But Shane, or we can be really unsafe. Like we can make Dad especially can make some decisions, you know, and Shane will just quietly go, is that wise, Andy? Like, is that, you know, is there a safer way we can do this? You know? So now when Dad and I are together, we'll look at each other and we'll go, what would Shane say if we're doing something stupid? You know, what would Shane say? Is this safe? You know, he's just got this way about quietly putting his little 2 bobs worth in, and yeah, it's really, really quite powerful.
Soul signature. We have a question for you. How did they bypass the story of the first kiss? I wanted to hear about that.
That was interesting, wasn't it?
Hmm.
You can tell that. I remember it. I remember it as clear as day. You can tell.
I wonder if the two versions are the same.
I'd imagine they'd be very similar. We were, Suzanne had, back in Tassie, Suzanne had a shop, and she had a little outdoor deck up on the roof, just a small area, and we were sitting on a blanket on that outdoor deck, just looking at the stars and the city lights, and we, just one of those things that happened. And that first kiss, definitely there was some spark in there, so I knew it was a good thing.
That's beautiful. That's just like, I don't think you can top that. Is there anything you can add to that? That's like the perfect story. It's like,
that's how it was for me. I don't know if that's what that.
No, I mean, because it sounds like it was very organic. I mean, you're laying on a blanket looking at the stars. I mean, obviously there was, it sounds like it was just the right time, and it'd been built up to that time.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't far into the related. Like, it was obviously early on.
Yeah.
But
was that was that a long night that night?
What are you getting at, Todd?
No, I went home that night.
It actually, for me, it was really surprising. I'd never had that experience of. It was like electric shock. See, Shane is not he's a man of words. He does he's written me a book of poetry, right? He's done, but he's not a man of, he doesn't flower things up. I'm the opposite. I create art as well. So I'm a real, like,
right.
You can see by my hands. I'm sort of make a flourish with my words more so. But for me, it was like electric shock. It was like a real, like, oh my God. Did you feel that? He's like, yeah, and it was like electricity. It was amazing, wasn't it?
So when Shane was telling the story, right when he got to the point about the kiss, right before that, he froze. I thought it was just on my end, but Ann and Morgan are saying it was on their end too. They didn't hear what happened. Like you said something right before, and then we kissed. Then we looked at each other and kissed. But do you remember what it was? It made it. It doesn't matter.
No, it just got to that moment where that seemed the inevitable, occurrence of that time that we had up there. So, yeah.
Wow.
Is that the same night that we kissed again when I said see you later, it's time to go?
Yeah.
I was a bit bossy because that's my
later. Hey, you just sent an electromagnetic shock through my body, but hey, see you later. Gotta go now.
Well, because I was scared. I was actually scared of my reaction. Like, I just was like shocked.
You needed to be alone and
I had to process. Oh my God! But so then he kisses me is that the same night that you kissed me when we went down? We went downstairs into the shop part, right? And is that the same night that we got a little bit more handsy? And then
see, here, let me tell. Okay, there's a third version here. So let me tell you the way I see what would have happened. Just like I can't do him. He's so pure. He's just like, we sat down and it got to that point. I could see his, like, not tentativeness, but just organic respect, and he slowly moves over and just barely the lips start to touch, and then the cougar takes over.
Oh no, it wasn't like that at all. Honestly, it was a real gentle kind of a moment, wasn't it? But it was really electrifying.
Yeah.
Like it was such strong energy that it surprised me. Like I've never had that experience.
So what happened after he left and you got your shit together? Or
Well,
at least to the best of your ability.
Before he left, we had a few more, some more kissing and a bit more. His hands wandered a bit more, so we learnt a little bit more. And I was his hands.
And your hands and yours. What were yours?
To be honest, Todd, I did think of, you know, I did sort of start to think, wow, I could probably teach him a thing or two, you know. And then I was surprised. Then I was surprised at actually what he was teaching me in. Like, I'm not just talking sexually. I'm talking like in so many other things. But you know, but yeah, I actually kind of sent him packing. Like, you need to go. You know, I was really harsh, but I was really kind of shocked, wasn't I? I was really overwhelmed by how, like, it was a real gentle, tentative kiss at the top, but. Mm-hmm. And it was a beautiful romantic setting, you know, all that stuff. But down, it was more, it was different again. I saw his masculine really strongly. Like,
yeah. How did it make you feel?
I still felt safe, but I felt really like, wow, this is like, you know, because he was a young man. He was, you know, and so, you know, it was a great connection in terms of timing because apparently that's when both of our, if you want to talk sexually, Todd, both that's the timing where all of that is at its height, you know, when he's in his 20s and I'm in my early 30s. Apparently that's meant to be a good matchup. I didn't know at the time, but, you know, I researched it later. So, but yeah, that was really shocking. It really shocked me. Like I closed the door. Now, when he met me, I was, you know, 15 kilos lighter. I was, you know, I was in a really good space in terms of my health and I felt confident in myself. But then I was thinking, he's 10 years, you know, 11, nearly 12 years younger.
Oh, I can teach him something.
Well, yeah, I kind of, I have to say that was in my.
You saw all this pure, authentic, real, raw, masculine power that you'd never seen. You have electric magnetic tremors running through your body, but you're going to teach him something.
No, I didn't think that at that point. I thought it before that. So that's why it surprised me.
This is before the kiss when you were having impure thoughts about a friend with benefits.
No, I wasn't necessarily thinking about.
I think Shane and I will probably have the same type of humor. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
God, this is awesome. I'm loving this. This is hilarious. So somebody asked a question. I'm not going to name names. Wow. Wait until we get to the sacred sexuality part in the first bonk. Bonk for you Americans means, you know.
Well, oh yeah, bonk. Yeah.
That was an Australian that said that, by the way. Oh my God.
My middle son wanted to listen to this, and I don't think I'm going to send it to him. I don't think he needs to know this stuff.
Oh my God, he's going to say mom's a heathen. So no, I'm sure. I'm laughing so hard I can't think of anything. So okay. So I'm just going to shift. We're going to go to Shane. Well, we're going to listen to him speak from his body. I like the way you described that. You know, like a grounded. But like, what's your like favorite things about, or you know, like what you appreciate the most, what you love the most, what you admire the most about Suzanne?
I like that she doesn't necessarily try and change me, or you know, she likes me the way I am, but she also makes me want to be better for myself, not for her. Makes me want to be the best me that I can be.
Yeah.
She makes me happy. She understands me and my view on things, how the world is and how people are, and although it may not necessarily always coincide with what she thinks, like me, she doesn't, doesn't try and push her way of thinking. She just accepts that that's the way I am.
Great answer. Yeah, you're right about. And so, what about you, Suzanne?
Well, Shane actually, one of the first things that he taught me was unconditional love. Apart from that, the sexual stuff, the unconditional love.
What is
it's normally you.
Why do you keep bringing up the sexual stuff?
No, but
we have to have a sidebar Q&A. Wait,
try to have a nice romantic conversation.
I forgot
everything back to sex.
Oh, come on!
That's what I'm saying. I forgot what I even asked. Oh, how you feel about Shane, and then you said something about.
Sorry about that.
He taught you about unconditional love. He taught you that's.
He taught me about unconditional love.
And what was the other thing?
So. No, we're not going in that direction now.
Honestly, I would just like to know, what would he be able to teach a cougar at 33, 34, whatever, right?
I only had a couple of relationships. I had a husband, and I. Normally it's you. Okay. What are you doing to me? So I could be myself, and I felt like I could really be whoever, and I felt he helped me to feel powerful, and he helped me to feel if I wanted to feel wild, or if I wanted to cry. Todd, stop it. If I wanted to cry, if I wanted to, I'm trying to be serious.
I know there's all these beautiful virtues coming out. They're like, wow.
Well, he did. Like, it was, I could be whoever. I mean, if I wanted to fart, I could fart. I've never farted in front of a man in my life. And he made me, I know that's too much information, but there you go.
It's fine. I just was shocked that you said that and not fluffy. I always heard it was fluffy.
No, just fart. It's easy. But I've never done that. And he just makes me, I can be, but I didn't trust that to start with, because he's me. He's, I've had a difficult marriage. I've got this younger man who I'm thinking, give it 10 years max, because, once I start to get old, he'll probably lose interest. I'll start to get wrinkly or saggy or whatever it is that happens. And he'll start, that's kind of in a way what I was thinking, because I was fearful still. I was fearful of trusting and really totally letting go. But he still managed to somehow bring that out in me anyway, even against my better judgment, or so I thought at the time. Yeah. I still like, I fell asleep on his chest and I would dribble all over him, and he still care, and all these things that was so embarrassing for me. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that, or whatever. But he would just laugh and love me anyway, and then he taught me about, honey, I don't care about what you look like. If I would say, oh, does this look okay, whatever, he'd say, are you comfortable? And I'd say, yeah. He said, that's all that matters. And I'm like, don't I look you always look good to me, honey. Yeah. I'm like, are you serious? Even when I've got my hair all over the place, or I've, whatever.
Y'all look better that way.
He just said he said to me, the first thing, this is what he didn't say, but this is what he said to me. Maybe it's because he just wanted to get in my pants. I don't know. But he did say to me, it was my light that he first noticed. He said, when I first met you, is that true? Mm-hmm. Would you like to say that story? Mm-hmm. He said that it was see, I can't make him do anything. So he said it was your light. He said something about your light really struck me. Is that correct? And so I didn't quite believe that at the time. I just thought that was something he was saying, but he did, he's even taught my parents about unconditional love, because you know, my mum has moments of, you know, she can be unpredictable, let's say, at times, and she's,
don't send her the video either.
I love her dearly, and we've all gone through a really difficult journey this year of she's had chemo and cancer and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So he she was really difficult with him at times, but he still went in to visit, and she would be embarrassed and apologize, and he'd say it's all right, you know. So he would still, no matter how he was treated, he would still, you know, and that's something I've learned too, that he's not a saint. He's not perfect. Like, he still judges people, especially if they wear Crocs. Is
he still teaching you things? I'm kidding. I don't know why every time you're talking, Suzanne, the number goes to 69 people in the house. I have no idea why that is.
Stop it, Totsy. You're the one that's
I'm telling you, I'm watching
you're
it for 10
encouraging
minutes.
this behavior.
Oh, my stomach, literally, I have stomach cramps from laughing.
It's probably all the vegetable juice you're drinking, Todd.
Oh, my God. Oh, this is funny. I keep looking at that number, and it just won't stop. Every time if he starts talking, it goes to 72, 73, and then you talk, it goes to 60. You can't make this stuff up. So, yeah. Okay.
Keep focused, Todd.
If you could just tell us one thing that he taught us, that he taught you. Okay, so okay. Oh God. Yes, yin yang, just 69 just means yin yang. So oh God, this is fun. So yeah, like, I don't know. And you guys have young people in the house too, right?
Well, we've got Kyle's 19 in March, and Sophia's she's 19 now. She'll be 20 next year. So they had a very serious car accident this year. So she's now living last year. Yeah, last year, because it's Anyway, 2021. It seems like. Yeah. Anyway.
Is she okay?
She's fine now, but she actually nearly died a few times. So it was a really difficult time, and that's I guess I found. Because so much was going on around me, because a week after that, Mum was diagnosed with cancer again. So she had cancer 5 years ago and had a breast removed. And then, so a week after the car accident, Sophia's in ICU fighting for her life. Kyle's, you know, trying to keep his shit together, but worried about his girlfriend. Shane's just the rock, the solid rock as usual, pretty much. But you were, I mean, it was tough on
that's a lot of pressure for a family.
And so then, you know, we get this news from Mum as well. And I had, at the time of the accident, my oldest son was over here with my his kids and my grandchildren. So there was shit going down everywhere, basically. And I had moments where I felt like I was going to lose my shit totally, because it brought up a lot of stuff for me too from my brother's death, and all sorts of stuff was going on. But I actually found that I went and painted. That helped me through. Like, it helped me, and I called the series Equilibrium, because it helped me to balance. It helped me to find my center amongst the chaos. You know, it was really powerful. And I realized how important it was for me, because I basically let go of painting. I thought, I'm sick of trying to do that shit. I'm going to let it go. Just like everything, you let go. If it's meant to come back, it does. And so that helped at the time.
I'm just curious, because I'm a man. Me and Shane, we're on this team.
Hang on, you can't lump us all in together, Todd. I've taught Suzanne as well.
Please, because if you don't hang with me, brother, nobody will.
Well, hang on.
I gotta have one brother.
Let's just listen to what you say.
You know, there's so many things coming out in the human being, right? Like, just doing the work that we do and talking to people. And so, like, it's like there's been this whole series of revelations between the sexes, you could say, basically. And like, listening to your story, like, one of the things that kind of has entered my field in the last few weeks has been like the vulnerability, right? But not from a man's point of view, because like a man always say, oh, well, he's not in touch with himself because he's shutting down his emotions, right? Where a woman is emotional, right? It's a different force. And I was just wondering, like, because when I'm listening to you talk really about your relationship over the years and kind of what's gone on and what his energy's like, and then of course your life before you met him in particular, the contrast. Was there a point where you felt like you could be totally vulnerable with him? Did it take time because of your previous relationship and your life experience before him? I mean, as a woman, was there a point where you're just you could just feel total, or maybe discover a new vulnerability, or go places that you may have taken longer to go to because you would have been alone? So, you know what I mean? Like something where you had like a breakthrough because you had the like the environment of support, that type of thing.
Absolutely. So over there, in Tassie, I had vulnerability, like I was able to be vulnerable, like I already said. So that was already a surprise. But I didn't know until in my 40s that like a lot of my trauma was starting to come up. Mm-hmm. And even though I thought I dealt with a lot of it, there was even more that I didn't know about. And so that's part of the reason why we had to come over, because I was starting to unravel and I couldn't hold on anymore. And I just said to Shane, look, right from the start, I said to him, I've always wanted to move back to my family. I've always felt like I need to, because we had to heal our family dynamics as well, because my parents and I had a real break, really, in a lot of ways when my brother died. It was a really difficult time. So it took me a while to really unravel when I got here, but because I worked full time to start with, so I didn't have time yet. Right. But then after about a year, I think, and Shane had his time where he was vulnerable at home. He was he was facing all his stuff at home when I was working, and he changed his role and he cleaned and cooked and all this stuff that he'd never done, and so then he was prepared to listen and prepared to learn as well. And he was teaching me how he needed to be taught and how, we were learning so much from each other.
Yeah, that's what
about respect and all of that. So then once I finished work, I realized my body just decided to stop one day. And it just wouldn't. 3 days I was in pain. I just couldn't go any further. And I realized that I had to deal with my shit. Like I had to look even further at because I came here and I learned so much more about traumas that had happened in the family, a lot of stuff my family doesn't know that I've been holding. And that's been a challenge, and but Shane's been the only one that's known a lot of it, and and he, through that time, we've had, when I met Morgan, it was the transpersonal counselling thing that we did together. Now that opened up a whole can of worms, right? And we did a lot of pastoral sessions here, and Shane and Kyle were always part of it. Like they would always hold the space, and they would just, every now and again, they'd just come in and they would do a drawing or just do something, and it would shift something, and they're both like magicians. They just come in quietly, do what they. And they don't do it with they're just really low key. And he saw me, I was doing some fairly full on unraveling and releasing of stuff and helping others with it. We were all helping each other, but then I had to really sit with myself, and I couldn't escape. Like you can't keep the busyness. The busyness had to stop, and so my body said, we're not doing this anymore until you face your shit, So I had moments of that. But recently, a few years ago, I had I had to sit with myself, and just recently I finished my cleaning job because I did some cleaning, because I've got this programming that I have to work, and I feel bad if I don't work, if I don't contribute, but I can't seem to work and then do my other stuff and, the house and all that. And so we've just made an agreement recently that I have to do this stuff. Shane said to me, that's the thing, if we could change, he said, I need you to just do your stuff. And so that's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Wow. So I have a question. God, it was a great question. It's like the greatest question I've ever come up with was for Shane.
Should have written it down.
I know, but I had, and it was for Shane. But I have one for.
Oh, that's
Suzanne.
a shame. Oh well.
Yeah, I'll remember it. I'm going to remember
No,
it in just a second.
The moment's gone now.
It was so good. It was a Shane-esque type of question or setup, like a volleyball player setting up for the spike. It was perfect. Hopefully, I remember it. So we'll just give Suzanne one.
Can I tell you about something he did for me?
Yes.
Is that okay? It might lead you into that. I don't know. Through all of this stuff happening, and he was, I was becoming more comfortable with showing who was coming out, and I would be telling him all these things that happened, and he would listen, and I'd say, honey, this is going to sound really crazy. Nearly every sentence started with that, didn't it? Honey, this is going to sound really crazy, but this happened or that happened, And I think we had a session that day, or we had people here. I can't remember how it exactly came about, but I had the massage table in the dining area, and we did some sound healing, or we did some, energy healing or whatever with group stuff or whatever, and it was still out. And I was sitting on it, and I said to him, well, you put your hands on my shoulders or something? You just felt like you needed to? I can't remember exactly how it came about. But I kid you not, I looked at him, and he had the Archangel Raphael behind him, and he had the crown, the Jesus crown, whatever it is.
Halo.
No, but the actual crown of thorns and the gold, all this stuff going on. And I'm looking, and he had his hands on my shoulders. And, it was just, I knew that he had something about him, because we knew that we were together in many past lives, didn't we? And whenever he's got this grey hoodie, he puts it on sometimes, and I swear it transports me back to him being a knight. Like when that chain is so much. There's something about him, the nobility that he has, and the honouring that he does.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
And his hands are so full of energy. Like if I'm sore, he put his hands on me, and the heat you can feel is phenomenal. And we do, like, he asked me to do sound with him, and we do that together. So it's all, we kind of just go about our stuff,
Is when you.
I'm trying to.
No, this is really. I'm in total reverence of this. This is incredible. I really appreciate y'all coming on. I just wondered, when you dress them up like a knight, is that just in your room when y'all are alone?
Fucking hell, Todd. Would you just? No.
I'm sorry. So, so what, Shane? Shane, what was your reaction the first time you heard her doing light language?
I'd never heard anyone do it before. I don't know. It was a new experience. It was good.
I love his answers.
Well, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. No, I love it. It's so true. It's so calm. Yeah, Stephanie said it. Yeah, when Morgan does it, it turns me on. I'm not gonna lie about it.
So, didn't do that.
She doesn't do it. She doesn't do it in public.
I hope not.
So, God, I've had a wonderful time. We should do this again later in the year. This is great. This is really cool. Yeah, you guys are great. I really appreciate y'all coming on. And
that's all right.
I know you guys had a rough year last year. I'm sure
everyone did, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can I just go one thing back to the light language, just so that we're clear? Sorry, Todd, to interrupt. But I didn't force it on you, did I? Like, it was just something that he heard that I was doing in the shower or something, and then it sort of he would start to ask me, could you do some sound or whatever, and it sort of developed from there, because I was coming to terms with it myself. It took me a few years before I started to do it for you, didn't it? I can't remember. You know how time goes. It's just. But it developed slowly. It's something that was a surprise to me, and then I had to get comfortable with it before I did it with him. And
well, I mean, he handles everything the same way. He's calm.
He really is.
It's
you
like
can see it.
Yeah, it's cool because you're like you ask the question. You said something about when he speaks, he's grounded in his body, but to me, it's like when he receives information, it goes into his body. Like that's where you're getting the communication. It's not the words so much. It's just you can just see him taking it in. It's interesting. Very cool. He's grounded. Yeah, that's what Dion said. Well, you guys, I know that this year will be great for you guys. And again, like I said, I know last year was tough, but you guys had some things happen. So I'm really glad to hear that your daughter's doing well, and all blessings to you both and to your family. And I hope we get to have a little fun again. If you're
Thank you for having us, Todd.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Morgan.
Do we kiss for the camera, honey?
Yes.
Stop it. That's one more story just quickly. He used to he used to work on this in this big place that had a big 4-lane highway, right? And I'd drop him off in the morning quick, and this was pretty early on, and he would want me to come out of the car and kiss him, to give him a full-on kiss, like pash thing. And I'm like, honey, I don't want to do that. It's embarrassing. It's in front of it. He's like, honey, we might inspire someone to greatness. Come on, we've got to do this.
That's right.
And we would have people bloody honking the horn or making comments, and I'd be like, oh my God. And he was loving every minute of it. So, there we go.
Wait, I'm listening. I'm just getting some. I'm getting some intel.
Not my bra.
Oh no, I can't go any. She's worse than me. So, oh my God, I had even a better one, but I just went out of my head.
You're supposed to write these things down, Todd.
I know. I need to learn.
It must be the grey hair that does it. Do you think, Todd? Because it happens to me all the time.
Well, if it's a signification of my,
just write it down.
That's a great idea. I have one right here. I never thought about that. I could actually start.
Just came on above your head.
Yeah, I could actually start doing something with myself. You guys, it's great. It's great talking to y'all. You guys take it easy. Thanks a lot, and you take care. Okay, bye-bye. Okay. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you too. Bye.
Yeah, we're going to come back in something like 2 hours, about 2.5 hours, and we're going to use this new studio equipment and play some music and maybe even bring somebody on the screen with us. We got some new toys and software and hardware, so this is going to be fun tonight. Yeah. So if you guys if anybody's up to it, we'll be live in a couple of 2.5 hours. All right. Y'all take care. Thank you so much.